Hello, I just want to talk. I got another fun bit to talk about. So I got set off by this bit. It says doctors quitting. It's a great graphic. It is a really great graphic. So I created a jump off bit just from this graphic because there's these two physicians and then they're talking about why doctors are quitting. So I paused it because I thought it was very interesting, and then I wrote down my thoughts, right? So check this out. I'm just going to get this one off my heart and off my chest. Why are doctors quitting? Some medical doctors say, these two specifically, the system, this is what they say. They say the system is designed not to help people get better. And I was like, oh, really? That's very interesting, doctor. Because I believe them. And the only reason why I believe them is because I used to work in the medical system. I was in the healthcare system for a very, very long time, in surgery specifically. And that was one of the patterns and the practices that I would always see, is that, we would basically just be patching up people, so people would come in, right? They would come in and they would have some pain. And then when they would leave, they would have less pain, but they would still be coming back with pain, right? So we never really truly solved the problem. And then, that just used to blow my mind. But when you realize what medicine is, then you're going to be like, oh, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, check this out. Medicine is a business, okay? You always have to remember what medicine is. Medicine is a business when it's regulated by the government, okay? So any entity that requires a license in order for them to do something means that they have to have permission to do what it is that they're doing. So all medical doctors have to have a license to practice medicine. And once you understand that, then you know it's a business because it falls under the jurisdiction of commerce, okay? Now check out this bit right here. Business is business, and business is always doing what business does. Okay, check this out. The top two money makers in medicine. So these are the top two money makers in medicine. Check this out. Surgical procedures. That's a fact. You make a lot of money doing surgical procedures. That's basically when surgery is always last resort. True story. Surgery is always last resort. So you always end up in surgery because everything else has failed, right? You've tried all of the stuff that you need to do, but you can't do anything else because just the life that you've been living your whole life has gotten you to the point to where your body is physically breaking down. And now it needs somebody to go in there and do the work with hands and repair the problem. And that's what surgery is, right? So you have all sorts of different systems that you can repair within the body. In hospitals or the healthcare industry, they make a lot of money off of surgery, okay? Then what you call them reimbursements. And then the other moneymaker now that's coming online is telehealth services. Okay, what is telehealth? Telehealth is basically you're able to communicate with people now, through the technology that we have. So you don't even have to be in the same room with the people anymore. What used to be a phone call, or basically what used to be a doctor's visit, converted into a phone call. Now phone calls have converted into videos. Okay. So you can talk to people over video and then you can discuss all sorts of things. So here goes the telehealth services that they're making money with right now. Mental health, right? The way you think. Chronic disease management. So that's just the diseases that your life is just a reflection of who you are and what you are. So if you're in a diseased state, then that means you've been living your life not in a very cool way. Now you got some problems that the doctors have to take care of. Okay. Also, full disclosure, I'm not a practicing physician. Everything that I'm talking about is for educational purposes only. Okay. All right, let's keep it going. So we're talking about the chronic disease management because that's how they make money on telehealth services, and specialty consultations. So they get to refer you out to things like surgical procedures or other places where you can get tested and stuff like that, because they want to say, well, what's actually going on with your body? Let's see what's going on with your body and we'll see what we can do for you. We'll see what type of medication that we can prescribe for you until you get to the point to where you actually need surgery done. Okay. All right. So those are the top two money makers in medicine. Remember, surgical procedures and telehealth services, right? Those are the consultations or the management services that they offer now. So here we go. I got a question that I want to know. This is what I want to know. Do you need a medical license to teach people how diseases work? This is just what I want to know. And I'm just asking this to all my neighbors right now, because we're living in some very interesting times, and a lot of things are coming online right now, and you can figure out a whole lot, right? So if you're in a diseased state, or you want to prevent from getting in a diseased state, how would you do that? Especially with the tools that are available right now. And if you need somebody to talk to about it, so somebody who can hold you accountable and make sure that you're doing what it is that you're doing, right? Do you actually need a medical license for that? I don't know. I'm just curious, right? This is what I want to know, because, for the most part, you need a medical license, so then that way they can say that you can do these procedures, right? So within the state, because surgical procedures, basically you're mutilating the body, right? You're mutilating the body because you're cutting it open and you're doing things to it. It's very invasive, right? So the state requires you to have a license, so then that way the consumer understands that you know what it is that you're doing, because I don't want to get cut. I don't want to get cut by somebody who doesn't know how to do what it is that they're doing. Okay. And that's a fair system. Now, telehealth is a very interesting thing, because your mental health on how it is that you think, that's something that's different, right? But if you can prescribe medicines, and that's what doctors do, is that they're able to prescribe medication, and that's the gateway and that's the hook, right? So if you want to do things and you want medicine prescribed to you, then you need to go to a doctor in order for them to do what they need to do, right? Because you need to use their license in order for you to get access into the pharmaceutical realm. Okay, remember that, my neighbor. All right, so we're done with that bit. I just wanted to put that down, because I just wanted to know, do you need a medical license to teach people how diseases work? Yes or no? Just let me know, my neighbor. And then I wanted to talk about how medicine is business. Never forget that medicine is business. Most things that are, basically all things that are regulated by the state are businesses, right? And once you understand how these businesses operate, you're going to bring down your stress levels a whole lot, okay? And I really do appreciate the doctors for talking about why they're quitting and showing us their point of view as to why they're quitting. They're quitting because the system is designed not to help people, and that's a sucky system. So if you go into a system that doesn't want to help you, but only wants to manage your disease, I would walk away from that system. I would run away from that system very quickly. I would only want to be in a system that makes me whole and makes me one, okay? That's why I'm always trying to point people to my Lord, my Savior, my King, my everything, Jesus, okay? You're never going to move me from that position, because that's where I come from. All right, my neighbor? All right, we're done. I just wanted to talk and get this one off my heart, because it's just fun. I just like talking now. All right, I'll talk to you guys in the future. Remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.